the news dropped from The Fever. Caitlin Clark is out with a groin injury.
Caitlin Clark out yet again with a left groin injury.
The fallout has begun. That's the draw. That's the aura. That's the brand. She is the WNBA.
New footage shows Caitlin Clark's injury might be worse than anyone thought.
As you can see with this play here, she gets a handoff from Aaliyah Boston, and then she fumbles the ball a little bit and she falls to the ground. The WNBA does better when she is on the court.
You can see the pain, and she never should have been on the court that late. If you stand with Caitlin,
there's only one so far that truly has like a Tiger Woods, Mike Tyson,
right.
LeBron James.
Needle mover.
LeBron James in his prime impact on viewership, and that's Caitlin Clark.
Drop 100% in the comments right now. She needs us.
Caitlin Clark is the needle. Caitlin is box office.
Caitlin Clark as the star. Everything else is wrapped around her, and everything else is revolving around her.
She's Rookie of the Year in the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark is the star player of the WNBA.
The most popular woman ever in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark.
It happened in the final seconds of a game that was already over.
At the end of the Seattle Storm game, the Indiana Fever are up by 8 points. And Caitlin Clark was on the bench. A lot of us thought that she was done for the evening, but Coach Stephanie White put her back in. And as you can see with this play here, she gets a handoff from Aaliyah Boston, and then she fumbles the ball a little bit and she falls to the ground.
With 16 seconds left on the clock against the Seattle Storm,
why in the world is she back in the game with 16 seconds left?
Caitlin Clark was inexplicably subbed back in.
People are saying that Caitlin Clark got injured.
Clark's back in.
Right there.
Down.
All right, on that play that just happened, that it may be where the injury transpired.
The Fever were up by 8.
Caitlin Clark clearly not looking like herself. The Indiana Fever has the game put away, yet we still put her back in the game at 45 seconds left.
It was a done deal. But for reasons no one can fully explain, she was sent out again. And that's when it all unfolded. As the play develops, Caitlin takes a handoff from Aaliyah Boston. She fumbles slightly, then makes a quick, explosive juke. A sharp plant with her left leg. And instantly, something's wrong. Her body stiffens. She goes down hard. Her face twists in pain.
It was 16 seconds on the clock on that inbound play. Caitlin does this crazy juke, and she did a step with the left leg. You can see in her face that she was screaming.
And as she rises, she reaches down and grabs her groin. It wasn't a collision. It wasn't contact. It was a non-contact movement. The kind of injury that almost always points to something more serious. And it was all caught on camera.
She ended up grabbing her groin right here. All right, so yeah, of course, this is what started that groin injury.
Multiple creators across YouTube slowed that moment down and agreed. This wasn't just a minor tweak. You can literally see her grimace, whisper, ow, and limp toward the bench.
See, she says ow, she's kind of limping to the bench.
Erica Wheeler, her teammate, even helps her up as she grabs at her leg. This is the footage fans can't stop talking about. Because if she was already hurting, and all signs suggest she was, then why was she back in the game at all? Critics are now pointing fingers directly at head coach Stephanie White, not just for her substitution choices, but for what feels like repeated mismanagement of Caitlin's health.
She's a great passer. She reminds me of Steph Curry.
Caitlin didn't look right for days leading up to that play. Her energy was off. Her shot was off. And this moment, this clip, confirmed it. Her body had finally had enough. This wasn't just a fluke injury. This was a breakdown everyone saw coming.
She has moved merchandise up 500%, ratings 50%.
Long before Caitlin Clark collapsed to the floor clutching her groin, the warning signs were everywhere, and fans were the first to notice. Her energy on the court had changed. The usual fire, the crowd hyping fist pumps, the bounce in her step, gone. She looked drained.
Caitlin Clark is out with a groin injury. Over the past 3 games, it is very clear that Caitlin Clark is not feeling like Caitlin Clark.
Her pre-game routine seemed off. Then came the real red flag, her shooting. Over her last 3 games before the injury, Caitlin made just 1 3-pointer. 1. The woman who redefined long-range shooting in women's basketball suddenly couldn't find the net. At one point, she went 1 for 23 from beyond the arc,
She has only made 1 3-pointer in her last 3 games.
a number so low it screamed that something was wrong physically, and fans saw it. They spotted tape on her upper left leg.
She had her upper left leg taped during a couple of those games.
Noticed how she winced during games, and how she subtly adjusted her body mid-play, as if trying to protect something. What they didn't see was action from the coaching or medical staff. No adjustments, no reduced minutes, just a superstar clearly struggling and still expected to carry the team. This wasn't just bad luck. Caitlin's injury history this season tells a story. In the preseason, she sat out a game with a quad injury.
She missed that first preseason game because of the quad.
That issue flared again weeks later, causing her to miss multiple regular season games. But when she returned, her minutes didn't just stay the same, they went up. She was logging 34 minutes a night, the kind of workload that would push a fully healthy rookie, let alone one nursing a soft tissue injury. Experts have weighed in too. One former college player pointed out that when you add muscle mass too fast, which Caitlin did in the offseason, it can throw off your shooting mechanics and stress surrounding muscles.
If you have an injury and you don't allow it to heal all the way, your body starts compensating in other ways. Your mechanics change.
That extra strain, especially when rushed, often leads to compensation injuries. And that's exactly what happened here. Her quad injury likely shifted pressure onto her groin, causing the breakdown we saw in that Seattle game.
Her quad injury jumped to her groin likely because of compensation.
The most frustrating part? The signs weren't subtle. The left leg tape, the fatigue, the poor shooting. Even her own coach admitted to learning about the groin issue late last night. But fans don't believe that.
The MRI, did it show a strain or anything? Or I don't know. You'll have to ask our training staff. Yeah, I stay in my lane.
How could a professional staff miss all of this when fans on social media had been piecing it together for weeks? And this wasn't just about watching her slow down. Caitlin Clark plays through pain. That's part of who she is. But this time it was different. Her body language screamed discomfort. Her face showed the toll. Her explosion, her lift, her rhythm. It was all off.
The lift on her shot wasn't there.
And instead of dialing her back, they turned up the pressure. More minutes, more responsibility, more strain. By the time the injury became official, by the time the footage surfaced, it wasn't a surprise. It was confirmation of what had already been happening game after game. And in many ways, it was preventable.
I think Caitlin's hurt in the Indiana Fever and sits her.
Because this wasn't just about one bad fall. It was a series of ignored red flags, stacked on top of each other, until her body finally said enough.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
And she was the MVP. She is the main draw.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
The moment Caitlin Clark went down, the story shifted from concern to outrage. And the deeper you look, the more it feels like this wasn't just a medical issue. It was a failure of leadership, protection, and maybe even priorities.
Others are speculating weeks. Stephanie White and the trainers are to blame.
Let's be honest. Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie. She's not just a player. She's the single biggest driver of attention, ticket sales, and TV ratings the WNBA has ever had.
There's no one else in the league who is putting up the viewership.
Since her debut, nearly every top-viewed game this season has featured her. When she's on the court, arenas sell out. When she's not, ratings drop.
I just see the numbers. So, like, I know what the numbers are when she's playing, and I know what they are when she's not.
By as much as 50%, according to multiple sources.
The WNBA ratings across the league dropped by over 50% when Caitlin Clark was out with injury.
That's not normal. That's LeBron, Tiger Woods, Serena-level influence. And that kind of power comes with risk, especially when the people in charge treat you more like a product than a person. It's why the decision to keep playing her, even while clearly injured, now looks like more than bad judgment. It looks deliberate. This is a player who's been visibly limping, wrapping her leg.
The news dropped from the Fever. Caitlin Clark is out with a groin injury.
Caitlin Clark out yet again with a left groin injury.
The fallout has begun. That's the draw. That's the aura. That's the brand. She is the WNBA.
Struggling to get lift on her shot, and yet, instead of resting her, they increased her minutes. She went from playing 28 minutes to over 34, all while displaying obvious physical limitations. This wasn't just mismanagement, it was neglect. Some fans have even called it exploitation. And when the groin injury was officially announced,
Caitlin Clark did get an MRI last night because she was feeling pain in her groin.
the coaching staff's reaction only made it worse. Head coach Stephanie White claims she didn't find out until late the night before.
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our strength and conditioning and our physical, our AT staff do what they do best. But yeah, I found out late last night, and then we'll treat it day to day.
But fans had already seen the leg tape. They'd already watched her fall. They'd already heard her say ow in the mic'd up moments.
Stephanie White said Caitlin Clark reported pain to the training staff last night, then got an MRI on her groin.
To say the coach had no idea, it just doesn't hold up, and people aren't buying it. Not when the medical staff, coaching staff, and front office had every opportunity to intervene and didn't. Now, this could have been just a bad look for the Fever, but it's not just them. The WNBA itself is under fire. Because while Caitlin was visibly breaking down, the league kept pushing her as the face of upcoming games. The Commissioner's Cup, one of the most promoted events of the season, still used her image front and center. Even as reports of her injury spread, tickets were still being sold with her name attached. And yes, thousands of fans bought in, hoping to see her play.
WNBA rumors suggest Caitlin Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlin Clark.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from three. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from three-point range.
Caitlin Clark is the star player of the WNBA.
The most popular woman ever in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark.
But when Caitlin didn't suit up, the backlash was immediate. You knew she wasn't playing, one angry fan tweeted at the WNBA's official account. You just wanted the ticket money. That sentiment echoed across social media. People felt misled. And even more importantly, they felt the league had placed profits above player safety. And it's not just the timing of the injury, it's how the injury happened. Caitlin Clark has been targeted all season, not just with physical play, but dirty play. Marina Mabry's blindside shove, eye gouges, hip checks.
The Marina Mabry shit was dirty. The eye gouge is dirty.
Constant hand checking that officials let slide.
Let's watch the play here.
To reset things.
As you can see, she dribbles over to the wing, pushes off a little bit, and hits that three. Now, if you slow things down and if you actually go frame by frame, you can see that Pow Pow had 2 hands on Caitlin. It wasn't just a one-hand check. She was kind of grabbing her with 2 hands.
She's been grabbed, held, and muscled off the ball repeatedly, and the refs rarely stepped in. People warned this would happen.
It is a mad situation just all around when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark has suffered yet another hard foul, and the referees failed to make a call.
The WNBA is physical, and she just needs to get over it.
Pundits, coaches, fans, everyone was saying it. If you don't protect her, she's going to get hurt.
Caitlin Clark, your greatest asset, is going to get hurt. The face of your league is going to get hurt if you continue to allow all this physical play to happen.
So what did the league do? Nothing. No rule adjustments, no disciplinary actions, no statement to set the tone. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark was out there taking hits that would have triggered flagrant fouls in the NBA. And instead of stepping in, the WNBA almost leaned into the chaos, treating the attention, even the negative kind, as a win. And now it's all come crashing down.
Caitlin Clark is out with groin injury. Buying it, or is it a mental break?
The backlash is everywhere. Fans are calling for Stephanie White to be fired.
Fans are done with Stephanie White. The honeymoon period is over. Stephanie White is not the coach the Fever need.
Some are calling out the team's entire medical staff. Sports writers are questioning the ethics of the league's marketing strategy. Even neutral fans, the casual viewers who tuned in just for Caitlin, are asking if the WNBA is capable of protecting its stars at all. And let's talk about the future. Because if Caitlin Clark is out for weeks, or worse, aggravates this into a long-term injury,
they went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. Just so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
It is a mad situation just all around when it comes to Caitlin Clark, because it's very clear that she is way stronger.
It won't just hurt the Fever. It'll hurt the league's momentum entirely. The media rights deals that were renegotiated with Caitlin in mind, those depend on her playing. The merchandise spikes, the sold-out games, the growing buzz, it all depends on her being healthy. If she were to say, "I'm done," and go play in Europe or take time off, the impact would be seismic.
There's only one so far that truly has like a Tiger Woods, Mike Tyson, LeBron James.
Needle mover.
LeBron James in his prime impact on viewership, and that's Caitlin Clark.
But what hurts the most is this. All of it could have been avoided. Better coaching, more caution, smarter load management, a medical team that prioritized rest over pressure, a league that took a stand and protected its biggest draw from unnecessary risk. But none of that happened. Instead, we got silence.
Like, they are promoting the game with two players that have a 50-50 chance of playing.
And a star player dragging herself up from the hardwood, holding her groin in pain, while everyone around her acted like nothing was wrong. Now the damage is done, and the question isn't just how bad the injury is. The question is, who failed her?
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. Just so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
And she was the MVP. She is the main draw.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
Caitlin Clark is a rising star in women's basketball. She's pulling in crazy viewership numbers.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
Yeah, she's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person, and she has like a lot of aura, so like.
Caitlin Clark didn't just fall, she was failed. By a coaching staff that pushed her too far, by a league that sold her face while ignoring her pain, and by a system that treated her like a product instead of a person.
If Caitlin Clark was choose to walk away, this is a disaster. It's a disaster.
Groins are really finicky and they take a while to heal.
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our strength and conditioning and our physical, our AT staff do what they do best. But yeah, I found out late last night and then we'll treat it day to day.
This groin injury isn't just a setback. It's a flashing warning sign for what happens when hype outweighs health. The footage confirmed what fans already knew. She wasn't okay, but no one listened until it was too late. So now we're all watching and waiting, hoping this doesn't become something bigger.
Caitlin Clark is the needle. Caitlin is box office.
Caitlin Clark is the star. Everything else is wrapped around her, and everything else is revolving around her. She's Rookie of the Year in the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark is the star player of the WNBA.
The most popular woman ever in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark.
Because if Caitlin Clark breaks down, it's not just the Fever that lose. The whole league does. And next time, it might not just be a groin. It might be everything.